This is instructions for a grey oyster mushroom growing kit. So once you have the kit in front of you, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pull this plug out. This was originally done so that the block can breathe, so there's a bit of air exchange. By removing it, you're actually giving it now more air, and air is going to be the trigger for the mushrooms to go further. The next step is going to see is you're going to see where a lot of mushroom tissue has already been forming. So with the growth, where you can see sometimes it grows under the sticker, mostly it's on top because we already had more oxygen here through this sponge. That's why it will be more mature on top. It will go now into the fruiting stage. So all what you have to do is now concentrate on one spot, the biggest bulge which you can find on the kit, anywhere where you see some newish whitish tissue forming, and you're going to take a razor blade, and then you're just going to, for example here, even if you need to remove the sticker a bit, which you can do, let's pull this out. The stickers are still quite easily removable. See, here's a lot of new white tissue. So all what you need to do is, I'm just taking a razor blade now and just make an incision just roughly around the whole mushroom tissue forming, just to give it more fresh air. And that's also the only spot which you're gonna keep moist. So the sticker, after a while, you can actually remove completely. This block you can just lie like that. You will take a spray bottle, any spray bottle will do. Just make sure there's no more soap in the bottle, just wash it out and things, and then you just give it a quick spray. Basically like this. Alright, and that's the moisture. The rest of the plastic you want to keep around is to keep the moisture around. So don't put a block into direct sunlight. Out. So it's just a matter of keeping it moist, and the mushrooms will be forming in the next few days. Just to show you guys here, these are clusters also from the sticks which have formed. This is also the grey oyster. This is how it later will look like. It forms a cluster of mushrooms, which then basically will be attached to the block like this. The right time to harvest is just before the caps completely open up. Like here you can see the caps are still curled in a bit. This is the right time to harvest. Once they open up completely, like you see here, that's when the mushroom drop all its spores, and that's also when you actually lose your shelf life. It's nothing wrong with the mushroom, it's all good still, so you can still use it and fry it. But yeah, if you want a bit longer shelf life to keep it in the fridge for a few longer days, the more the caps are enclosed, yeah, the better the shelf life. And it's also just to show you, you will have small mushrooms and big mushrooms. The cap will tell you how big the mushroom is gonna get by just looking at the curvature of the cap. That's pretty much it. Here's some of the Nameko mushrooms. Here you can also see the caps just opened up now completely, and you see it's still like slightly curled. This is the best time to harvest. Yeah, and that's pretty much in a nutshell. We got here another stick. Just to show you guys, this is now the reishi stick. It's still in colonization state, so the mycelium is still running. As soon, by keeping it a bit longer, the mycelium will become stronger and stronger, and it will also start forming these kinds of mushroom clumps. The only space where you can see already where the color is changing, that's probably your best spot now. The block can still actually stay for like a week, and then you would repeat the same process. Just take the plug out, and then just cut a circle on one spot to give it basically oxygen and the space for the mushroom to grow, and then it's just a matter of keeping moist, and then mushrooms will start growing. Yeah, thank you. So it's important that the mushrooms always stay nice and moist, because there are quite a lot of mushrooms, is a lot of water, and by opening up too much of the block, that's why you want to keep most of the plastic around, the block is going to dry out too quickly, and then it's going to form a crust, and the block is going to become dormant. So by keeping the plastic around, you're keeping the humidity inside the block, and then it's just a matter of where the mushroom tissue is growing to give that fresh air. Oxygen is the trigger. Mushrooms are CO2 producers, the same as humans, so you want to remove the extra CO2 and have oxygen, then mushroom will grow. If you go away for the weekend, what a person can still do is try to create a little microclimate around it, like a little greenhouse. So you can put the block into a bucket, or put a big plastic bag around this. You just take a spray bottle again, just spray it a few times, just to keep it moist. That's enough water. You don't want necessarily the block to drown the block in water. That can also happen. So just have enough, just that it's moist. You leave it for a few hours, and if you see the skin is drying out again, then you just spray again. The mushrooms will still indicate to you if you've got nice white tissue, it means it's growing. Once it starts forming yellowish or different color, it will show you that the mushroom is drying out, so that you don't want. So that means the humidity around the block is not high enough. Okay, so once the mushroom starts growing, by keeping the block just moist with a normal spray bottle, it will start forming small mushroom pins, which are starting, and they will get bigger and bigger, and it forms a cluster of mushroom. So it's very important to keep the humidity high around the block so it doesn't dry out, because otherwise the pins will abort and it will stop and it will reset the whole block. Then you will need to start at a new spot and repeat the whole process again.